Good evening. This is Gary Edward Gedall, psychologist, psychotherapist. I'm looking a bit sleepy because I've just had a bit of a sleep and I haven't woken up properly quite yet. Good morning. Um, we're here looking at who is Meghan Markle. And tonight we're going to start looking at Meghan's relationship with her parents and how that relationship with her parents that's YouTube telling me that I'm live. I knew that, but maybe you didn't know that. And talking about how that her relationship with the parents has affected the way that she functions. And specifically tonight, we will talk about the big boss syndrome, which is one of the coping strategies that some people put into place. It's a moment because we have a bit of time to talk about coping strategies. In my work, my reflections, I see that people have many choices of coping strategies. I've got a book out with I think it's 48 different coping strategies that I've listed, but there are about must be somewhere around 100 if you want to nuance them and look at slightly different variations of different types of coping strategies, which is something that we all use and we all need, and that can be necessary for our functioning. My logic, just talking about coping strategies just for a moment, because that's what we're going to talk about with Meghan Markle, the coping strategy of the big boss. So coping strategies, in my reflection, we have 4 or 5 major coping strategies that we put into place in our childhood, ways to survive sometimes complicated lives, or just normal ways of functioning, because everybody has them. They're not necessarily dysfunctional or pathological, depending on our life circumstances. Usually as a child, the more dysfunctional our environment can be, the more dangerous, the more that we need to have an extreme set of coping strategies. The more they will become extreme, the more they can become rigid, and the more they can become problematical as we get older. Just a small word of that. So I'm going to quickly get on to showing you this next episode in Who is Meghan Markle, and this one is her relationship with her parents. And I hope it functions the way it should. Tick. Who is Meghan Markle? Hi, this is Gary Edward Gedall, psychologist, psychotherapist, looking at who is Meghan Markle. So, we have been looking at Meghan and her parents. We've looked at a case study where I hope that I've shown how Meghan and also Harry might have idealized their mothers and distanced themselves from their fathers. So to continue after the case study, which I hope you've watched as it's really good. If you have, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Otherwise, you'll just have to wing it and catch up as I go along. I believe that Meghan never really appreciated her father, and I will add that neither did Harry appreciate Charles as much as he should have. It was just someone who was there, the real person, and yet the person who's always been wonderful has been her mother. But her mother, in reality, from my point of view, has always been woefully absent. Now, I'm not saying, just like my patient's mother, who was bipolar, and like Harry's mother, Diana, who was in many ways a wonderful person, I'm not saying that these were not good people. What I'm saying is that because of life circumstances, they had not been available to be mothers in the classic sense of being around all the time. Because when you're around somebody all the time, then you also have to do what I call the nasty bits. You have to do the discipline. You have to say no. You have to sit with them when they learn their vocabulary, calculate their maths homework, or practice their instrument. One can't constantly say yes to a child. We just can't do it. And those responsibilities were left to the father of my patient, to Thomas, and to some degree to Charles. So let's just take a moment to focus on Harry and his parents, just an aside if you like. Although for Harry there was of course also the boarding schools. I mean, Charles had the whole structure of the monarchy to deal with as a prince. And there was the boarding schools that Harry attended. So I'm not saying that Prince Charles had that much to do with discipline, but he was definitely there to set an example and to show the expectations of Harry's role in life. He was also there to set some limits. But Diana, the good one, the angel, who would appear from time to time, unfortunately for Harry, disappeared totally. So nothing tarnished her image. It meant he had this idealized image of her. And from what I've heard about his mother and what he did when he spent time with her, it was exceptional. There was very little ordinary time together, especially during the last years of her life. So when you get confronted on the daily reality of living together, it doesn't work the same. But everything up to that point, she was the most wonderful mother in the world. And this, from my appreciation, was very, very similar to Meghan's relationship with her mother. Her complicity and generosity and charity and all those wonderful things. And I'm definitely not saying she's a bad person. What I'm saying is that Meghan's relationship with her parents, I believe, has been coloured by this idea that her mother is wonderful and her father is boring and uninteresting and not very capable. Even though he spent a fortune on her and time and energy, he had a good job and lots of money, but yet he went bankrupt. So, okay, maybe he wasn't too good at dealing with money, but somewhere along the line, I believe Meghan benefited a lot from that money. Although I'm not saying that his other children didn't. I'm not going there, but I'm saying that I think she might have actually benefited more than the other two. I won't go into details because I don't have them. Also, I'm not saying that he didn't benefit either. I'm not saying he didn't enjoy his life, but I believe that she, Meghan, benefited greatly from his generosity, his presence, and his investment in her. But I believe, and this is where we want to go to the next step, because when we move to the next step, we take a slight detour, take a little bit to the side, because I'm really excited to talk about the conflict between Thomas and her in my conspiracy theory. We're looking forward to that. So, let's a little bit talk on the side, coping strategies. Now, this is something I will talk about in detail in the book. It is also the theme of another of my books, Living in Harmony with the Real World, Volume 4, which for the moment has the title Perfecting Your Inner Parenting, which I'm thinking of changing, but that's a totally different subject. So we all have coping strategies. That's how we survive in the real world. However, the more complicated and difficult the childhood a child experiences because of work, because of parents or anything like that, the more extreme and rigid the strategy needs to be. Now, one of the coping strategies that people might put into place, I have termed as the big boss. The big boss says, I'm in charge of everything, I control everything, give me all the power, take all the responsibility. And I believe this is an attitude that she has. The big boss coping strategy. It's not something that's abusive in itself. It's just that in that way, the person feels safe. And they only feel safe when they control everything. And I've seen that in the way that Meghan functions. She has this big boss coping strategy.
I control everything. That way, I can feel safe.
So that's about it for this week. The big boss needs to have total control, but also total responsibility to feel safe. And that's how I see Meghan. So, next week will be the conclusion of this episode of Meghan and her parents, and the week after that, well, that's when I get to share my conspiracy theory. Yes, Gary's conspiracy theory of what really happened between Meghan and Thomas before and after the royal wedding. Lots to look forward to. So please like, share, subscribe and comment. It's all important for these videos to be seen. So until Monday, see ya, Gary.
We're a couple of spares, we're cool 'cause we have no cares. Our brothers rule the country with their grace and their noble airs. We're a couple of jocks, we've both been through detox. If our brothers had their way, we'd both end up in the stocks. The Clinton folks have asked us up for tea. We don't know how to get there, no siree. No siree! We would drive up the avenue, but the chauffeur left us twice. We would skate up the avenue, but there isn't any ice. We would ride on a bicycle, but we cannot ride a bike. So we'll walk up the avenue. Yes, we'll walk up the avenue. And to walk up the avenue's what we like. Media stars are we, with full publicity. We'd open up our secrets, but Oprah's out to tea. We're the favorite lads of girls in the picture ads. We'd like to tell you who we kissed, but Jeff would think us cats. The Fox and friends are waiting at the club, but how are we to get there? That's the rub. That's the rub. We would sail up the avenue, but we cannot fly a kite. We would ride up the avenue, but the horse would Meghan bite. We would ride on a trolley car, but we don't know what that is. So he'll walk up the avenue. Yes, we'll walk up the avenue. Yes, we'll walk up the avenue. That's the biz.
And there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. Whatever you're celebrating this period, I don't know what you're celebrating, if anything. If maybe the school holidays, if you're of school age, and if you're not school age, maybe you're celebrating less the school holidays. I don't know how it is. So anyway, have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you. Bye for now. This is Gary.